Fallow deer. A person who first sees the most common type of fallow deer may wonder why it never got rid of the white spots other deer have when their fawns then lose as they grow up. But a spotted, light brown coat with a black stripe that runs down the back to the tail is just one of the many types of colors the pelage of this wide-ranging deer can sport. Some fallow deer are white, some are black, and many have what is called menil coloration. This means that the spots stand out more, and there is no black on the tail or the rump. The spots persist throughout the winter, while with the common coloration the coat turns gray and the spots fade. The deer's hind legs are also longer than the front legs, and the male has a distinct Adam's apple that bobs up and down when it calls. The fallow deer is native to Europe and Asia Minor and probably North Africa, and it's been introduced in countries around the world as a game animal. It's also raised for its meat and for the velvet on the male's antlers, which is supposed to have health-giving properties. Many zoos have a small herd of fallow deer. Humans have been hunting fallow deer since the Old Stone Age, which occurred between 420,000 and 200,000 BC. Humans at the time not only ate the meat of the deer but its bone marrow. Over the centuries, it has been introduced around the world, including Australia, Canada, the United States, Madagascar, and South Africa, and there are fairly large herds in England and Wales. There's a herd found in Dublin's Phoenix Park that's descended from deer who lived in the park in the 17th century. Fallow deer also differ from other deer in that males are much larger than females. Males can weigh twice as much as females, and the largest buck weighed as much as 330 pounds. Besides hunting and use as livestock, fallow deer are valued because of their beauty and grace. The texture of the deer's coat differs with the season. During the warm season, the colors of the coat are paler, and the hair is shorter and smoother. The winter coat is shaggy, darker, and has an undercoat. If the deer has white spots, they are abundant on the back and sides of the animal, absent on the legs and the head, and sparse on the neck. Only the male fallow deer has antlers, and his antlers are large, shaped like shovels, and have many points. Indeed, they resemble the antlers of the bull moose, and they're usually between 1.6 and 2.29 feet long. The buck starts growing palmate antlers when he's about 3 years old. Before that, his antlers are simply spikes. The buck loses his antlers in April and grows another pair that are fully grown by August. Fallow deer are nocturnal and are most active between just after sunset and sunrise. During those hours they feed, look for food, or rest. Bucks usually keep to themselves, but at the end of summer, they start to gather into herds that are made up of no more than 6 individuals. By the fall, which is their breeding season or rut, these bachelor herds drift towards herds made up of females and juveniles. The fallow deer can thrive in a variety of habitats, as long as it can support the vegetation that they eat. They do best in old-growth forests dominated by broad-leafed, deciduous trees such as oaks, especially if these forests contain glades. Fallow deer can also be found in forests of deciduous trees and conifers, in grasslands, savannas, and scrublands. Like many types of deer, fallow deer are herbivores, but they are not particular when it comes to their diet. They eat grasses, acorns, and other fruit produced by trees, leaves, twigs, and shrubbery. They'll also take herbs, shoots, and buds and will even eat bark. Their preferences depend on what is available. Fallow deer are hunted by humans and other predators that are big or clever enough to bring them down. The mammal's overall alertness to its surroundings and its propensity to gather in herds saves it from those predators who are not hunting with firearms. Fallow deer have a somewhat complex reproductive strategy. When they enter the rut, bucks stop eating. Since the rut can last for 135 days, a buck can lose as much as 17% of his body weight and develop a fatty liver. If the deer lives in the northern hemisphere, the rut occurs in October. If they live in the southern hemisphere, it happens in April. During the breeding season, the buck establishes a rut stand or a territory. He does this by attacking low-hanging branches and leaves with their antlers, groaning and grunting and scraping the ground, and urinating in the area. Each buck has its own distinctive vocalization that both warn other bucks away and entices females. If a buck enters another's territory and refuses to leave, the two may fight by shoving their antlers together. The antlers might sustain damage, but a severe injury to the body is unusual. On the other hand, females visit the male's territories and choose a mate. The male will sniff the female and dance around her to impress her before she allows him to copulate.